November 6, 1995. Basdeo Panday creates history, becoming Trinidad and Tobago's first East Indian Prime Minister. It caps off a grueling election campaign against the PNM and a political career that started as a trade unionist.
We established a national ideology that would have enabled this country to solve its problems.
30 years later, we reflect on the rise of Basdeo Panday and what that moment means today. To understand Panday's rise to glory, you must go back to when he was in the gutter. February 1988, Panday is expelled from the National Alliance for Reconstruction (NAR) party, along with two other ministers, Kelvin Ramnath and Trevor Sudama. The fracture is between him and Prime Minister A.N.R. Robinson.
A decision was taken to create a political club. They called it, this was in 1988, Club 88.
Kelvin Ramnath, Rampersad Parasram, John Humphrey, and Panday are the founders. They decide to have a meeting in Aranguez. John Humphrey says it would be a turning point in TNT politics.
At that meeting, the crowd insisted that we form a party. So all of us on the stage, mandated now by thousands of people, form a party. We have to have a name for the party. We have to have a symbol for the party. I remember that two of our supporters said, "The rising sun for the symbol." Two people proposed it. So right away, I started designing.
Humphrey would also be instrumental in the naming of this new party.
I looked at India, the oldest party in India, the ruling party, Indian National Congress. I looked at Africa, and in South Africa, the oldest party was the African National Congress. So the name has to be a United National Congress, uniting Indians and Africans.
The new political entity did not do badly in the 1991 general elections. Patrick Manning's PNM won the elections convincingly with 21 seats. But the UNC had managed 13 seats, with the NAR winning the 2 Tobago seats. Basdeo Panday felt he was onto something. One major development would take this new political party to the next level.
Brian Quaitung, Ish Galbaran Singh, and Steve Ferguson were in the PNM supporting Manning with a set of computers doing exit polling. Basdeo was able to win those three individuals over in the campaign. So these are the guys that did the assessments of the electorate on what was wanted and advised Mr. Panday on the important issues to campaign on.
Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, a key figure in the UNC at that time, recalled the major issues at play in the 1995 general elections.
Well, people were frustrated with the corruption in the PNM government, the lack of the fight against corruption. And I think what happened to people felt that government was not government of the people. They were not dealing with the issues that affected the people. And remember, crime was an important issue. As a matter of fact, in 1995, we won, I would say, because of the promise to deal with crime in the country.
As Panday builds the UNC, Manning is under mounting pressure. In August, he declares a state of emergency and places a Speaker of the House under house arrest. Manning's PNM majority is reduced to a single seat after a defection and a loss in a by-election. In October 1995, he calls a snap election a year before it is due. The election finishes on a knife's edge. The PNM loses 4 seats and UNC gains 4. Both parties are locked at 17 seats each. Robinson's 2 Tobago seats prove pivotal. The UNC forms a coalition with the NAR to form the government. The voter turnout is 63.3%. Though the PNM wins the popular vote, they've lost the election.
That was a moment in which I think it was electrifying because it was a situation in which he could have announced on that night too that the government would be a coalition government. So supporters are very happy that he was promoting national unity again.
On his first working day in office, Panday sets about showing the Prime Minister he wants to be.
The first day that he went in, it's still on television, it's so emotional because I was looking at it the other night when you called me just to remember these things that seem so far away. He went in to the Prime Minister's office, which was in the financial complex, and shook every single person's hand on every single floor. And the media was following him around. And he wanted and told every person that he was going to have what you call an open door policy, because he knew that there would be apprehension. Why wouldn't there be? The PNM had controlled the political landscape and the institutions, had run it for so long. So people would have been worried about their jobs. They would have been worried, I wonder if this Indian man coming in here and going to shake up things and try to make his mark in that way. And in fact, he made his mark in the opposite way by keeping everybody together and uniting everybody. And there were some people, you could see the apprehension and worry in their eyes, and he made them feel at ease.
Basdeo Panday demonstrated that whatever fears the population had of having an Indian Prime Minister, an Indo-Trinidadian as a Prime Minister, those fears were buried because people developed confidence that the fact that you have an Indo-Trinidadian Prime Minister didn't mean that their security was affected. He gave the other areas of the population, the other segments, confidence that you can have an Indo-Trinidadian Prime Minister. And I think there can be no doubt about that.
I asked Panday's longtime friend, John Humphrey, what the legacy of that 1995 election means today.
We established a national ideology that would have enabled this country to solve its problems, to bring an end to poverty, to shelter all our families in affordable conditions, to have little or no crime, because everybody would be catered to. We would have national unity of our Indian and African populations, which the colonial past had created for us, and we would have enjoyed the benefits of our own resources without exploitation.
Michaela Panday was in her early 20s, away at university when her father became Prime Minister. She remembers it from the perspective of a young woman.
Indo-Trinidadian people felt represented on the political level at the highest level of government. So young Indo-Caribbean Trinidadian people would have felt that they too could aspire, that we could get into politics, that there was a place for us, not just economically, as was said in the past, that we could represent as well. And you would have known we started to have more Indian TV station, radio stations, so the country itself became more representative of its demographic.
30 years after her father's triumph in the 1995 general elections, Michaela Panday contested an election of her own, with her own political party. But it's difficult for her to escape the question of whether one day she hopes to lead the party her father created.
The answer, sadly, to some people who would say, I want you to lead the UNC, lead the UNC, lead the UNC. No, I don't have any aspiration to lead the UNC. I have aspiration to lead a party that will take this country from the abyss that it finds itself in into the light, and for young people to come back to Trinidad, and for the country to be free of crime, for us to enjoy ourselves, for us to prosper, for us to live as we should be living, and not in what the rut we find ourselves in. So I have to have vision. And the vision is just as the UNC's vision was. UNC's vision may not be that, but the UNC is a name. You don't have to take anybody's name. You can get your own.